You wake before the sun touches Parnassus. You lie still and listen to the mountain breathe. The stones hold the night's cool, and your breath comes slow and even. You are not yet the voice of Apollo. You are a woman in the dark. Yet the day is already coming toward you. Its steps are deliberate, its face is veiled. You rise, quietly, a shawl around your shoulders. The floor is familiar under your feet. The smell of oil, of ash, of wool. Your hands remember the habit of prayer before your mind fully wakes. You fold your fingers, you bow your head. The mountain is a living thing, and it answers you with silence. The silence is not empty, it is a bowl waiting to be filled. You step outside, the air bites gently, deep blue sky holds the last of the night. Below you the terraces of Delphi hold their breath. Treasuries, colonnades, pillars left by distant cities, all sleeping, golden shapes hidden in shadow. The pathway rises and falls like the spine of a serpent. You know each curve, you know where the moss clings to the stone, where the slippers of thousands have polished the steps. You walk toward the Castalian spring. The water speaks before you see it. It murmurs to the rocks, it talks to the laurel trees, it talks to your ankles as you step in. Cold, clean, forever moving. You kneel on the worn stone lip of the basin. You scoop water over your arms, your face, your hair. It catches in the strands. It runs down your temples like silver threads. You drink. The taste is honest. The water is not for thirst alone. It is for washing away the human dust that clings to you. It is to make you a vessel with no residue. You are not an empty thing, you are a clear one. You chew a leaf of laurel, the bitterness wakes the back of your tongue, and something like brightness blooms in your chest. Your mouth remembers the taste of resin and green. Your fingers rub a sprig, and its oil slicks your skin with the sacred scent. You have done this many times. Still, each time there is a moment when you hesitate. There is a threshold within you, and you cross it. You listen to the first voices of the day, a goat calling from its pen, priests softly measured, speaking to each other in careful phrases, saving their voices for the hours ahead. A pilgrim clearing his throat, composing his courage. A woman reciting her question to the dawn as if the dawn might answer. You hear it all at once, like beads sliding on a string, and you hear the one sound beneath them all, the earth, humming, the navel of the world, steady as a heart. You dry your hands and turn toward the sanctuary. The road curls past treasuries gleaming with gifts from cities that once came trembling to your stones. Athens, Sparta, Corinth, the islands that smell of salt and jasmine, the mountains that carry thunder in their pockets. They have all left pieces of themselves here, shields dented by wars now quiet, tripods heavy with victory, vessels whose gold holds sunlight even in shadow. You pass them with a glance, not in disdain, but in patience. All of it is a prelude. The question is always more important than the offering. The god attends to the truth, not the weight of the gift. You carry that knowledge like a stone in your sleeve, a certainty, a burden sometimes, a blessing more often. At the gate, a man steps aside to let you through. He lowers his gaze, not in fear, in reverence edged with relief. He surrenders his certainty to you, and he is glad to be lightened of it. You nod, you do not speak, you save your voice. You will need it when the fumes rise, you will need it when words no longer belong only to you. The morning test begins. The goat is led across the stone. A bowl of cold water is thrown on its back. You watch. The animal shivers, delicate as a leaf in wind. The priests, satisfied, exchange glances. The day is favorable. The god permits the question. The god permits your mouth to open. If the goat had stood still, if its flesh had rejected the chill, you would have turned away. No oracle today, but not this morning. The signs align, just enough, as they always do when the god wills his voice in your throat. You enter the temple precinct and it's cool. The marble holds shade like a folded secret. You see the carved pediments above Apollo's lyre, his bow, light turned to stone. The smell of incense is salt-sweet, full and heavy, clinging to the back of your throat. You make the sign. You lower your head. You cross the threshold into the dimmer inner spaces, into the hush where men and women wait with their questions held like coals in bare hands. Burning, dangerous, necessary. They cannot all go first. They cannot all have answers at once. The lot is drawn by fate and order. Cities come with tokens, with offerings, with prior rites. Individuals wait their turn, counting their breaths, counting the stones in the floor, counting the ways a life can tilt between one word and another. You are brought to the Ataton, the innermost place. The air changes. The walls carry a silver mineral smell, like struck stone. The omphalos rests there, the stone that says the world has a center, and that center is under your feet. You lay your palm on it for a moment. Its surface is cold. The cold goes into your hand and then up your arm and then into your chest. It sits there like a star. You let it. You see the tripod. Bronze, polished by time and touch. 3 legs joined in a balance older than any question that will be put to you today. The seat is shaped to receive you. The bowl beside it holds sacred water drawn from the Cassotis. The laurel branches are new cut, still full of sap. A small brazier glows low nearby, its charcoal red but quiet. The fissure is not a wound, it is a mouth. The breath of the earth rises through it, warm and faintly sweet, edged with a mineral whisper that is not a scent you can name. It is not smoke, it is not incense, it is the earth telling you a secret in a language the body remembers. You cleanse your hands, you sprinkle the barley, you set a pinch in the fire, smoke lifts and turns like a ribbon in the air. You sit, the bronze is cool beneath you, your sandals press the rung, your back lengthens, your head bows. The laurel crown rests on your hair, and its leaves make a soft sound against your ear when you move. The priests retreat to their places, scribes ready wax tablets, a cup of water is set near your hand. Your fingers hover over it, but you do not drink yet. In the silence your breath becomes the loudest thing you know. The first petitioner steps forward. The voice is trained to be respectful, steady, a city ambassador by the cadence alone. He invokes Apollo by name and epithet. He lists the offerings. He speaks the question carefully framed, layered in modesty and ambition. The words are elaborate. The heart of them is simple. Should we go to war? Will we thrive if we pursue the course we plan? Which god is displeased? Which god will be a friend? You hear the city in his voice. You hear the streets, the markets, the barracks, the sleeping rooms, the courtyards with olive trees in them. You hear the weight of young men untested and old men unhealed. You hear the city asking through a single mouth to be allowed to remain itself. You inhale the breath of the earth. You let it in, slowly, deeply. The sweetness touches your tongue. Heat unfolds in your knees. Your ribs open, gently. There is a brightness behind your eyelids that is not light. It is a texture. It is a pressure like a hand pressing lightly on your brow. You do not resist. You do not push. You become hollow in the right places. You let the honey of the mountain rise. The first words come. They belong to the god. They move through your throat as if your body has been shaped for them. They enter the air in fragments. They fall like seeds on a tilled field, and the priests gather them as they drop. You say, not with haste, not with fear. You who would weigh iron on the tongues of the wind, you who would send young blood through narrow gates, stand very still. The god sees a river that is not water, a line of bronze fish flashing in a valley of stone. The high bird dives and strikes once, then it climbs. Do not follow the shadow, measure the sound it leaves. Look to the god who strung the bow, and to the one who girds the sea. Offer to both, but trust the ship's rib more than the spear's shaft. There is safety in a fence of wood. There is danger where the ground hums and remembers old footprints. You stop. The sound of your own voice surprises you, as if you have heard it from far away. You swallow. The laurel leaf on your tongue has melted into a bitter ghost. The ambassador bows deeply. The priests murmur, grateful and busy. The scribes write. A fence of wood, one whispers. Ships, says another. The ambassador understands and does not understand. That is correct. The words are for him, and also larger than him. He leaves with them in hands that shake less than when he came. You breathe. You are not light-headed. You are light-boned. Your body feels like an instrument in the hands of a skilled musician. You wait. The next voice comes forward. It is not a city this time. It is a woman. Her sandals are simple. The hem of her chiton is mended with careful stitches. She holds herself very straight. She invokes Apollo with a tenderness that surprises you. Her question is for her child. Will he live through the winter? Will his breath settle and not catch? Will his bones fill with strength? Her voice stumbles and then steadies. She offers a ribbon of hair, a small thing. The smallest offerings are sometimes the heaviest, you know. They carry what money cannot bind. The breath rises from the earth and is already on your tongue. It is sweeter this time. Your eyes blur slightly at the edges. The room slows, then steadies. Your voice returns, measured, softened, all the same a blade. You say, the child is a reed in the wind, do not break him by holding him too hard. Warm him with the simple fire. Make of honey a medicine. Let the goat's milk be thinned with water from the spring. Speak to Hygeia, be patient with Apollo's time. In your courtyard grow thyme, hang it above his bed. The god does not promise the spring to every leaf, but he keeps what he promises. Give thanks in the small hours because they are not empty. Listen for his breath without counting it. Name him for a man whose feet were steady on mountains. The woman bows until her forehead touches the stone. You feel the brush of her gratitude even though it is not yours. It passes through you toward the one who deserves it. You accept her thanks, and you do not keep it. The priests mark the words. The scribes scratch lines into wax that will be melted and made again. The room holds steady. You hold steady with it. A new petitioner. The cadence is brisk, Spartan perhaps. The cloak is red, the jaw set, the hair cut close. He speaks of law simple as a spear. He asks if the god favors a campaign along the isthmus. He offers bronze. He offers obedience. He offers belief in what he already suspects. You taste iron in your mouth, which is strange and not unpleasant. The breath from the earth rises slow but firm. It sits in your lungs like a brother sitting down beside you, calm and immovable. You say, the wolf knows the ravine better than the dog. Do not chase a shadow into a net. The sea smiles without teeth, the land shows its teeth and calls them hills. Watch for the man whose words are simple and hands are soft. Trust the older road, the road with dust. The new road leads to a courtyard with no gate. Offer to Athena before you move. Put your back to the cedar, not the pine. 3 days march, then turn. Turn by counting, not by mood. Silence after, then a short satisfied exhale that is not yours. The soldier nods as if he has won a small wrestling match. He understands some of it, the rest he will take to a tent lit by a single lamp, to be argued over with men who think war is a language they already speak. He leaves. You remain. The day rises, the light changes inside the temple, even in the most interior places. It slips under doorways and along the floor, and lifts the dust into motes that float like sacred ash. Petitioners come and go, questions like beads, lives like reeds. There is a rhythm to it. The god's voice is not a drum, not a hammer, it is a string, plucked, resonant. You are the body it hums through. You do not decide the tune, you learn it as it is played. You pause, you drink a sip of water. It tastes like stone and sun. Your mind is not clouded. The sweetness in the air is not a fog, it is a thread that binds your body to this place. The men who will argue about the nature of the fumes are not yet born. You do not need their names for it to be real. The mountain breathes. You breathe with it. That is enough. The next voice comes and carries the shape of a ship. You hear ropes. You hear gulls. The question is about trade, about a voyage to the Black Sea, a river that is not friendly yet promises wheat enough to fatten cities. You feel the god shift slightly inside you. He has an affection for ships today. Your words ring with that affection, but not with lenience. You say, when the moon has eaten itself to a thin smile, launch. Do not count the oars, count the men who can sing. Trade iron for grain, but hide your gold in wool. Avoid the island that looks like a crouching dog. The wind will turn against you at the mouth of the narrow sea. Wait 2 days. Do not argue with the gulls. They answer questions you have not asked. Sacrifice a black goat to Poseidon. Give sweet cakes to the small gods of the ship. You will come home heavier and lighter at once. The sailors nod, satisfied because the sea has been spoken to. They understand that language. They bow with their hands open, palms upward. You see the calluses. The rope burns. You wish them quiet winds in your heart. Your mouth says nothing it is not given to say. Time becomes a rope in your hands. You pull it, hand over hand, toward the afternoon. The mountain warms. The laurel scent deepens. You think of the road that brought you here years ago. You were not old. You were not young. You were chosen because you were steady. You were chosen because something in your voice had already learned to be still. There are stories about the first of you, the one who was young enough to be taken by a man who mistook the god's servant for a woman. After her, the city chose women not young, not easily stolen, not easily turned away from their post by the heat of eyes. You are one of these. You have loved and not loved. You know the taste of bread baked for a festival and for hunger. The god asked not for a maiden, but for a vessel that does not spill. You think of the python that once guarded this place, a serpent that was not an animal alone, but a shape a danger takes when the mind wants to look at it. Apollo came and slew it, so they say. He made a grave of this place, and then a cradle. You sit where the monster's breath once thickened the air. You breathe in the god's laughter where the serpent hissed. The stories layer like paint. You live inside the most recent coat, shining where the light falls. Midday wanes and the petitioners thin. Not all are great men. Most are not. A farmer with cracked hands asks if this year will bring rain enough for olives, not so much for rot. He has saved a small jar of last year's oil, brought it wrapped in cloth. You say, prune in the waning moon, trust the slow winter, promise a portion to Artemis and keep it. A girl with eyes like polished jet asks if she should marry the boy who smiles under his eyebrows and never in his mouth. You say, listen to his laugh when he does not know you are listening, marry the sound, not the posture. A craftsman asks if he should take his tools to Corinth. You say, go for 3 seasons, return for 1. Do not trust the man who praises your work without touching it. The mountain draws your sweat like dew, and the temple walls hold the scent of humans and not humans laid one over the other. In the brief quiet between questions you hear the bees. They live in the stone cracks. They have their own oracle, in the language of flowers. It is an older language than yours. It is one the god also understands. A delegation from a city that does not love another city arrives late, with livery and pride. They are angry before they speak. They are angry with the air, with their own sandals, with the god for asking to be spoken to with words they would rather not form. They ask for sanction to punish neighbors who have done what neighbors always do, build their walls straight and their speech crooked. They promise great gifts to the god if only he will bless the spear lifted against men who look too much like brothers. You inhale slowly. The breath from the earth is even, untempted by their urgency. You say, he who sets fire to the field must sleep in the ashes. Count the sons you have, count the sons you can bear. The god loves order, not smoke. Where the olive branch is snapped, it grows back with shoots that pierce the hand. Make the sea your boundary, let the river flow uncut. Offer to Apollo a bronze mirror, polished until it throws back the sun. Look into it until you see the neighbor's face in yours. Their anger has nowhere to go but into their fists. They close and open them. The chief delegate bows and sets his mouth in a straight line that will bend later, when they are alone. He thanks you with a weighty speech that will be noted at home and forgotten at night. He leaves. You remain. You hold what is left of his words in your throat until they fade, then release them in a breath he will never see. You rest. You step away from the tripod. You stand. Your knees are stiff but not trembling. A novice brings you figs and a heel of bread. You eat slowly. The sweetness of the fruit is almost too bright after the mountain's honey. You drink water. You look into the shallow bowl and see your own face made wide by the curve of the clay. You do not know if you look like a priestess or a tired woman with a bit of laurel stuck to her hair. Perhaps both. You are both. The god does not ask you to stop being human. He asks you to let your humanity be the instrument and not the song. Outside, the sun leans west. The stones of the sacred way give back the heat of the day in little pulses. Pilgrims touch the bases of statues. They murmur to one another in dialects that turn Greek into many forms, like water turning to foam and spray and rain and back to water again. You close your eyes. You listen. You hear the mountain's long exhale. You hear the first shadow lengthening across the omphalos. You hear a boy laugh in the courtyard, breaking rules, breaking tension, breaking the spell of too serious waiting. You let yourself smile. Not large. Enough. The afternoon brings fewer delegations and more single souls. A scholar with ink-stained fingers asks if the poem he is writing is good. You say, finish it. Ask a woman in the market to recite the third stanza. If she stumbles, change it. A potter asks if the new shape he dreams of will hold water or only beauty. You say it will hold memory. That is a different thirst. A man whose eyes will not settle asks if he should leave his wife. You say, do not leave her in winter. Do not leave her in cruelty. If you leave, walk towards something, not away. A priest of another god asks if his god will mind a friendship with yours. You say, gods are large, men are small, friendship is a stair with many landings. Climb one. A young acolyte brings a curl of smoke from a new handful of incense. The perfume changes. It grows richer and darker at the edges. You breathe it without leaning into it. You know exactly where your feet are. You know exactly where the fissure is. You know the precise place to rest your palm on the bronze of the tripod so your flesh warms the metal and the metal returns the favor. You know exactly how far to lean to catch the mountain's breath and not your own. The hours tilt toward evening. The god is not done. A last petitioner stands in the doorway, uncertain. He is not dressed for courts or rituals. His eyes are clear. He holds nothing in his hands. He steps carefully as if he has come here by accident and on purpose at once. He does not invoke with flourish. He whispers. You barely hear the words. They are simple. Should I forgive the man who took what was mine? If I forgive him, am I small? If I do not, will the god be less in me? The breath rises. It is not sweet now. It is clean, like new snow. Your eyes sting. Briefly. Your answer is not a riddle. It does not need to be. You say, you will forgive because you do not wish to carry his hand inside your chest for the rest of your life. You will not be small. You will be light. The god is not diminished by a man's harm. He is diminished when you repeat that harm in your own body. Put your palm on the stone you love and speak the thief's name to it. The stone will know what to do with the name. Walk away. Do not look back unless you are ready to see yourself, and not him, in the dust. He bows without taking his eyes from yours. He leaves without haste and without weight. You exhale and taste the last of the day on your tongue. It tastes like ash and honey. It tastes like a promise kept. The priests move quietly, reversing the morning. The laurel branches are gathered. The brazier is banked. The bowls are emptied, rinsed, inverted to dry. The scribes stack their tablets like loaves. The sanctuary changes its shape. It becomes a room again. It becomes a place that can be walked through without holding one's breath. You stand from the tripod. The bronze creaks, a small sound, intimate and private. You lay your hand over your sternum. Your heart answers, steady. The god is not there as a thunderbolt now. He is there like a warm stone in your breastbone, grounded, heavy enough to remind you, light enough to carry. You step into the courtyard. The sky is an old coin, burnished, worn smooth by touching. The mountain's shoulder is purple. The first bird of evening crosses the sky with a single wing beat that looks like a thought leaving a mind. The air smells of oil and pine and something almost like bread. People are still here, of course. They stand in clusters. They speak in low voices as if the sanctuary has taught them a new way to shape sound. Some are content. Some are angry and call it reason. Some are lost and call it patience. They do not need you now. You do not belong to them now. You belong to the small path that will take you back to your room, to the basin and its water, to the bread and its salt, to the blanket and its quiet. You walk the sacred way downward and upward, as it insists. Your sandals know each step. The treasuries glow. Statues seem to lean into the cool, as if they too can feel evening with stone skin. Your breath is easy. You do not speak. The day's words are folded inside you like linens, clean and neat, ready to be given to those who can take them and use them. At the threshold of your room you pause. You look back. The temple of Apollo stands with its columns cut against the sky, a comb for the sun's last hair. You feel a closeness for it that is not possessive and not distant. It is a place where you become more than you are, by becoming less. The paradox is simple. The empty cup holds the wine. The silent mouth speaks the world. You smile. You step inside. You wash. You rub the laurel scent from your wrists and it does not entirely go. You touch your hair and find a leaf crushed and fragrant. You leave it there. You sit. The bread is good. The olives are good. The water is better than good. Your belly warms. Your shoulders drop. Your body is yours again. You will sleep. And in sleep you will not dream the god's voice. You will dream of bees, perhaps. Of a small boy running through an alley with a stick. Of a woman's hand resting on a child's chest counting breaths and then choosing not to count. Of a ship that leaves and returns. Of a field that burns only in a story. You think of the power they say you have. They call you the most powerful woman in Greece. They do not know what they are saying, but they are not wrong. Your power is not like a king's ring. It is not like a spear or a fleet. It is the power of a mouth that says what it is given to say and then closes. It is the power of being trusted by a god for the length of a breath, and then again, for a lifetime. You do not own it. You tend it. The mountain exhales. The fissure in the temple floor is not a wound, and not a mouth, tonight. It is simply a line in stone. The breath will rise again when the sun does. The laurel will be cut fresh. The water will be clear. The goat will shiver or not. The priests will look to the signs and the signs will answer. You will place your body in the space where the god wishes to stand. You will become the place where heaven and earth meet. You will inhale the volcanic breath. You will let it braid your breath with the mountains. You will speak. Men will write it down. Women will cry with relief. Children will live to remember the day they came to the temple and saw the world made into sentences. Cities will adjust their sails by the truth of your words, or by the fear of them. Empires will tilt. Empires always tilt. The god remains. You lie down. The blanket is rough and good. Your eyes close. A fly worries the air and then settles. Your mouth curves, the smallest movement. Your body remembers the tripod, the curve of the bronze, the way your feet found the rung and then forgot it. Your lungs remember the sweetness, the mineral taste, the faint edge of heat. Your tongue remembers the bitterness of laurel softened by breath. Your ears remember the words not as meanings but as music. Your heart remembers the weight of the omphalos pressed into your hand. You sleep. In the night somewhere below, a man turns over on his mat and thinks of the sentence you gave him and takes courage. A woman folds laundry by moonlight and repeats a phrase to herself and stops being afraid. A captain looks at the sky and decides to wait for a day and not two, because the gulls were wrong this time, because the god's voice in your mouth has taught him to hear the sea differently. A boy whispers your name into the straw of his bed like a talisman. He will grow into a man who comes to Delphi, and stands in the doorway and does not cross the threshold and still feels slightly altered. He will not know why. He will not need to. You do not know these things as you sleep, and yet you do. The god's knowledge does not cease at the edge of your body. It is not a light that goes out when your eyes close. It is a light that burns behind everything, even darkness. It is a string humming even when no one plucks it. You are not its source. You are its brief, careful opening. Dawn will come. You will wake. You will listen to the mountain breathe. You will stand and go to the spring and chill your bones with water and feel your mouth wake to laurel. You will pass the treasuries that gleam with the need to be remembered. You will touch the omphalos and cool your palm on the heart of the world. You will sit upon the tripod. You will feel the earth lift its breath to you, and you will take it as if it were a cup handed in kindness. You will speak. You will be silent. You will speak again. The day will pass through you. The god will pass through you. The world will tilt and catch and steady, for a moment, and you will be quietly, solidly, the same woman who walked into the dawn today. A body with knees that ache and hands that can thread a needle. A mind that knows when to laugh at a boy in the courtyard breaking rules with joy. A priestess whose voice has swayed men in crimson cloaks and women with ribbons of hair. A vessel. A mountain's breath. A story the world tells itself about how to listen. You breathe out, asleep. You have told the day. The day believes you.